Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Sue and today we're doing a yoga twist and flow class. For this class you may need a block. Other than that, I hope you join me on the mat and enjoy. Let's begin close to the top of the mat. Bring your hands into prayer position. Stand tall, navel in, lifting the crown of the head. And with your inhale, reach your arms overhead. A big stretch, let the palms touch overhead. And as you exhale, fold into a forward bend. Softening here for a moment, relax your neck. Soften your jaw. You can bend your knees quite deeply as you soften. Feel free to roll your shoulders and move your head or gently let the upper body sway side to side. Find your way back to the center, pausing it here for a moment. And next inhale, lift up halfway. Your hands on your shins, on the floor, even on your thighs, looking for that figure 7 shape. Exhale to fold into a forward bend and inhale. Come all the way back up. Stretch your arms out. Let the palms meet and touch overhead. A gentle back bend and exhale back to the start. Let's keep flowing. Inhale, reach the arms overhead and exhale, fold, forward bend. Next inhale, lift up halfway for a flat back. Exhale, hands on the mat, step or hop back into a high push-up position. From here, you may want to lower the knees down onto the mat and point the toes, or keep your knees off the mat with those legs nice and strong. Let's take a low push-up, elbows hugged in close to the body, Chaturanga Dandasana. Let the belly drop and press the chest forward, lifting up into a gentle cobra. Only go as high as necessary for you to feel that stretch. Next exhale, let's take it back into down dog, curling the toes under, lifting the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Hold it here for a full deep breath. And at the end of this exhale, send your gaze up in between the hands. Bring the feet to the top of the mat. You can step, walk, or hop the feet up to the top. Once you get there, inhale lifts you up halfway for a flat back. Exhale, fold, forward bend. And inhale, let's come all the way back up. Stretch those arms overhead, taking a gentle back bend. And exhale, hands back to prayer. Let's keep going. Inhale, reach the arms overhead. And exhale to fold, forward bend. Inhale, wave up halfway for that flat back. Exhale, plant the hands on the mat. Step, walk, or hop the feet back. High push-up. Remember, you can remain on your toes here for strong legs or bring those knees down onto the mat. Low push-up, elbows close to the body, and inhale through into cobra. Maybe upward facing dog if you want to squeeze those glutes and lift the thighs off the mat. Next exhale, let's make our way back into downward dog. Good. Press down into those fingers. Nice spread to the shoulders. Legs are strong. You can bend the knees, one knee, and straighten the other leg and switch. So a little pedaling out here. A little creaking. I have a little creaking, a little bit of popping. It's pretty normal. And then find your way back to down dog. Both legs a little straighter, those heels reaching down towards the mat. Stay here in downward dog or float that right leg off the mat, coming into three-legged dog. Good. And then we'll carefully step the right foot forward or help it up. Right foot closer towards the right hand. Back knee lifted off the mat, nice and strong. Legs. You can stay right here or lower the back knee down onto the mat and just let the hips melt down and forward. Just pausing it here for a moment. Good. And then we're going to place the left hand on the ground, keeping that left hand really light as you place your right hand on your thighs and rotate the chest towards the right side of the mat, trying to get that right shoulder a little higher than the left. If you want a little bit more, stretch that right hand up towards the ceiling and strengthen the back leg. Remember, the back knee can still be down at this point for a softer version. Good. Hold it here. One more deep breath. And then soften, bringing that right hand back down onto the mat. Step the front foot back so that you're back into a high push-up position. Either head right back to downward facing dog and hold it here. Or if you want a little bit more of a slow vinyasa pose instead, vinyasa flow instead, take your low push-up into your cobra up dog and exhale to flow back into downward facing dog. And so we just hold it here in down dog. Restore your breath. Try to slow down that heartbeat. Good. And stay right here in down dog or float that left leg off the ground for three-legged dog. And just hold it here for a moment. Carefully step the left foot forward or help it up in between the hands. Keep that back leg strong. And again, for a gentler version, you can lower the back knee down and let those hips melt down and forward. Hold it here. Check your alignment. Make sure the front knee is over the front ankle. Strong legs. Lean slightly into the right hand as you rotate your chest towards the left. Left hand on the thigh or stretching straight up towards the ceiling. Keep your breath flowing. And release that left hand back down onto the mat. Step back into downward facing dog. Stay there or flow. Take your low push up. Cobra up dog. And exhale back to downward facing dog. Good. At the end of this exhale, send your gaze up in between the hands. Step, walk, or hop your feet up to the top of the mat. Once you get there, inhale, lift up halfway for the flat back. Exhale to fold, forward bend. And inhale, let's come all the way back up. Stretch your arms overhead. Let the palms meet. Take that gentle back bend. And exhale. Back to the start. Take a side stretch next. Inhale, reach the arms overhead. Interlace fingers, pointed index fingers. Take it over to the right side. Hips slightly to the left. Enjoy the stretch. Good. One more deep breath. Inhale back to the center and same thing on the other side. One more. Inhale back to the middle and interlace the fingers behind your backs. As you fold forward, your knees can be slightly bent if you're still not quite warmed up enough. Press the hands away from the body and then relax the neck and shoulders. Just breathe here. 2 more deep breaths. And we'll go ahead and release those hands back down onto the mat. Next, inhale, wave up halfway for your flat back. Exhale, hands on the mat. Step, walk, or hop back into high push-up position. From your toes or from your knees, low push-up. Inhale through to cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale to get back to downward dog. And stick out right leg and stretch it up high, three-legged dog. Carefully step the right foot forward to come into a warrior one. So you plant that back heel down. Firm foundation with the legs as you make your way up. So chest will rotate the face forward and you can adjust so that the front knee is over the front ankle and back leg is strong and straight. And then reaching the arms overhead, warrior one. Good. So today we're going to add an element of flow and twist. So as you inhale, straighten the front leg and just rotate the chest slightly so that it's towards the long side of the mat, and then sink back into your warrior one. Okay. So opening up the arms, right hand forward, left hand back as you straighten the front leg. And then as you exhale, sink back into your warrior one. Good. Let's do 3 more of those. Inhale. Exhale. 2. Slow, controlled movements. And last one here. And into a warrior one. Stay right there. Or take your left hand, gently touch the back of your left leg as you press that right shoulder up and back into a very gentle back bend, just encouraging some opening there. Good. Inhale back up. Exhale, bring those hands back down onto the mat and back into downward facing dog. And you know what to do. You can stay right here or you can flow. Depends on how strong of a practice you would like today. Good. And next we're taking our left leg and stretching it up high into that three-legged dog. And carefully step the left foot forward to come into a warrior one. Turn that back heel down, plant it down and adjust. Take your time. You've got that front knee over the front ankle to your best ability. Back leg is straight and strong. Chest facing forward. Reach those arms overhead. Working that spine. Inhale to straighten the legs. Open up. Left hand forward, right hand back. And then press back into warrior one. Good. Inhale. Exhale. 3 more of those. Two. Good. Last one. And staying right here or placing that right hand at the back of your right thigh, lightly touching, and the chest facing forward as you draw that left arm slightly away from the front, a gentle back bend. And inhale, come on back and bring those hands back down onto the mat. Step back into your downward facing dog. Stay right there or shift forward and flow. Take your low push up, cobra, up dog, and back into downward facing dog. Good. At the end of this next exhale, gaze in between the hands. Step, walk, or hop your feet up to the top of the mat. Once you're there, inhale, lifts you up halfway. Exhale to fold. And inhale, let's come all the way back up. Stretch, arms overhead, gentle back bend. And exhale, back to the start. Let's take that side stretch again, this time with arms fingers interlaced and pressing the palms up towards the ceiling. Same over to the right side. Hold it here. Good. Inhale back to the center and over to the other side. Inhale back to the middle and the swan dive and fold into a forward bend. Wrapping your hands behind your legs, holding onto your calves or even just the thighs. Inhale to lift up, slightly lengthening the spine. And exhale, use your arms to deepen into that forward bend. Hold it here. One more breath. Lovely. Release, hands on your shins, lift up halfway for that flat back. Exhale, hands on the mat, step or hop back, high push-up position. Take that low push-up. Into cobra, up dog. And exhale back to downward facing dog. Good. Now in your down dog, take your right leg and float it off the ground. Bend your right knee and open up. Try to get the right hip higher than the left. Get a little twist to that spine. Hold it there. One more breath. And then carefully step the right foot all the way forward to come into a warrior two. This time opening up to that long side of the mat. Warrior two. Good. So this time we're going to keep moving the spine. So now we're going to straighten the front leg and actually rotate the chest forward as best as you can, facing towards the front of your mat. And then sink back into your warrior two. Good. Keep going. Inhale, reach. Careful. Exhale, warrior two. You want a little bit more, walk the back foot back a little bit more. 2 more. We'll keep warming up that spine. And come into a warrior two. Just hold it there for a moment. Place that right forearm on the right thigh. Take your left hand, reach it up and over. You come into a side angle pose. Press that left shoulder open. Gaze straight ahead or towards that left fingertips. Good. 1 more deep breath. And inhale all the way back up. Straighten the legs. Turn that front toe so that you've got both toes pointed towards the same side of the mat. And just go into a forward bend this way. Release your hands onto the ground. Hands on the ground. Your crown of the head reaching down towards the mat. But just want to feel, keep pressing the hips up and back to feel the stretch to the back of the legs. Okay, keep going here. Keep breathing. 1 more deep breath. And then make your way back up. Walk your way back to the top of the mat. Meet in downward dog. Okay, so stick it back. Stay there or flow. Anytime you need to take a break, bring those knees down and come into child's pose and just soften there for a moment. Pause the video for a bit. Otherwise, meet back in downward dog and just hold it there. Take your left leg, stretch it up high, three-legged dog. Bend the left knee and try to get the left hip higher than the right, opening up through those hips. Keep those legs strong. Level off the hips and step the right foot all the way up in between the hands. Go ahead and turn that back heel down to come into a warrior two. So you plant that back heel down back foot down at a 90-degree angle and press open. Okay. So you want to adjust as necessary. Front knee over the front ankle. Don't let that front knee collapse in. And let's move. So as you straighten the front leg with the inhale, try to rotate your chest forward as best as you can. And then exhale to open back up. Good. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, open. 3 more of these. Last one. You'll just hold it here for a moment. Keep that front knee bent. Place the left forearm on the left thigh. Reach that right hand up and forward. You just want to press that right shoulder open as though there's a wall right behind you. Hold it there. 1 more breath. And then inhale, come all the way back. Pivot the front toes so that you've got both toes pointing towards the same side. Towards the right side of your mat. Interlace the fingers behind your backs and then fold into a forward bend, pressing the hands away from your hips. Relax your neck, soften your face, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. 1 more. And then release the hands, let the arms dangle down towards the mat, and you'll find your way back to a runner's lunge and make your way back to downward facing dog. Stay there or flow. Good. Hold it there. 1 more breath in down dog. At the end of this exhale, send your gaze up in between the hands. Step, walk, or hop your feet up to the top of the mat. And once you get there, inhale lifts you up halfway. Exhale to fold. And inhale all the way back up. Stretch your arms overhead. Taking a gentle back bend. And exhale back to the start. Let's keep going. And this is where you may need a block in case you need it for your revolved poses or your half moon balances. So let us start off at the top of the mat once again. Let's bring our hands into prayer position. Let us begin. Take your inhale, stretch your arms overhead, and exhale, forward bend, just as we've done before. Inhale, lift up halfway for flat back. Exhale, hands on the mat, step or hop back, high push-up position. Take that low push-up. Oops. Inhale, cobra, up dog, and exhale, let's bring it back. Downward facing dog. Let's add a little core here. Take the right leg and stretch it up high. Three-legged dog. Three-legged plank. Bring that right knee in towards the chest. Shifting forward to hover. Hold it there strong. Take that right leg, stretch it up and back. And let's do that 1 more time. Coming forward to hover. And then take that right leg, stretch it up and back. Step the right foot forward to come into our warrior 1. And that back heel down and come on up into warrior 1. And then we'll open up into warrior 2. A little bit of a flow. Next we're coming into a half moon pose. So this is where those blocks may come in handy. We're going to place that block in front of the right foot, or if you don't need a block, you can place a hand right down on the ground. As you place a hand on the ground, that right leg starts to straighten off of the ground, straighten, and that left foot floats off the ground. And you're working your best to keep that right hip over, left hip over the right. And you'll notice a little bit of shaking, and it's normal. And then if you're feeling quite steady here, go ahead and reach that left hand up towards the ceiling. And Hold it there. And let's release. Carefully bend the front knee and lower the back foot down onto the mat, coming back into a triangle pose next. So straighten the front leg. Reach that right hand down towards the right knee, shin or ankle, left hand at the waist, or stretching straight up towards the ceiling. And you'll hold it here. Keep breathing. One more breath. Okay, next inhale, come all the way back up. Inch that back foot up a little bit to come into intense side stretch or pyramid pose, and shift that left hip forward, keeping both legs straight. It looks as though you're standing on two skis in this pose. Keeping those legs straight and the spine long, start to lean forward. You can keep your hands at the waist, or you can bring those hands down onto your block or all the way down onto the ground. You just want to get that intense stretch to the back of the right leg here. Just hold it there. Here we go, one more breath. Bring your hands onto your waist and inhale to lift all the way back up. Next, we're going to do our revolve triangle pose. This is where those blocks may come in handy. So I'm just going to hold the block on my left hand. If you want, you can place the block right down on the ground to begin with. So hold the block with your left hand if you're using your block. And with long spine, you're going to bring that block or the hand all the way down to the ground. Inside of the right foot a little easier, outside a little bit more challenging. But in both cases, you want to try to press that right shoulder higher than the left, and then reach that right hand up towards the ceiling. Looking for that great twist for the low back and challenging balance pose. Hold it. Keep breathing. And we'll release. Both hands back down onto the mat. Soften here in the pyramid pose for a moment. Good. Let's make our way back up. Hands on the waist. Inhale all the way back up. All right. So next we're going to try a challenge pose. It's going to be a revolve half moon pose. So we did half moon. The right foot and the right hand was down on the ground for that balance pose. Now we're going to revolve it so the left hand has to come down onto the ground for this one. So your right foot is still forward. You're going to take that left hand just as we did for revolve triangle pose, left hand up towards the ceiling, bend the front knee and place that hand about a foot and a half in front of your right foot. And then slowly approach this pose. Start by straightening that right leg as best as you can. Left foot lifts off the mat. And then try to get the right shoulder higher than the left, pressing it open as best as you can. And then right hand can reach up towards the ceiling. Hold it. A little wobbly is normal. 2. Try for one more. And here we go. Carefully unwind the spine, bend the front knee, and release into forward bend. Soften, breathe. A little bit of movement, maybe pedaling out the feet a little here. Shifting the hips gently side to side. And then let's continue to flow. Place your hands on your shins, lift up halfway for that flat back. Exhale, hands on the mat, step or hop back into a high push-up position. Take low push-up, cobra, up dog, and exhale, flow back into your downward facing dog. Good. We'll take that left leg and reach it up high for three-legged dog. Core work, bend the left knee in towards the chest and shift forward to hover, strong. And then exhale, take that left leg, stretch it up and back. Let's bring it forward once again. Left knee forward, press down into the hands, hover, and then stretch that left leg up and back. Let's take our Warrior one, left foot stepping forward. Take your time, come into a warrior one. Good. Now let's open up into a warrior two. Okay, so let's move into our half moon pose again. A block might be handy here to place in front of that left foot. Okay. So we're going to keep our chest facing the right side of the mat and place your right hand on your right thigh. And then to get ready to come into this pose, you're going to bend your left knee, place your left hand on the ground or on a block like I'm doing here, and then work to straighten the left leg. And as you do that, that right leg will lift off the mat, and then take your right hand and stretch it up towards the ceiling. So imagine there's a wall behind you supporting you, and you keep that breath flowing. And if you're feeling quite strong here, you can even turn your gaze towards that right hand or just keep it forward. Good. One more breath. And let's carefully lower that right foot back down onto the mat. Straighten the front leg and come into your triangle pose. So straighten the front leg, long spine. Take your left hand and reach it down towards the left knee, shin or ankle, and then that right hand can just reach up towards the ceiling in that full expression triangle pose. Hold it there. Restore your breath. 2 more deep breaths at least. All right, here we go. 1 more. Inhale all the way back up to standing. Moving into our pyramid pose. So for this one, you have to inch that back foot forward a little. Just try to get that right hip shifted forward so that the hips are level to the front of your mat. And with straight legs and straight spine, you're going to start to hinge forward. Keep those hands at the waist or bring them down onto your block or the ground. Reconnect with your breath. Take those deep breaths. Good. Let's make our way back up, hands on the waist. Inhale to lift all the way back up to standing. So for this one, you want to bring that right hand down, either to the inside of the left foot, or for a little bit more of a challenge, bring it to the outside. Okay, so for this, we're going to, if you're using the block, grab a hold of the block with your right hand, and then reach it up towards the ceiling. Bring that right hand down either to the inside of the left foot or to the outside. And as you press down into the right hand, try to get the left shoulder a little higher than the right. And you can stay exactly where you are, left hand at the waist, or you can take that left hand and stretch it up towards the ceiling, coming into your triangle pose. And do your best here. Steady, deep breaths. And 1 more. All right, so when you're ready, come on down, unwind the spine, release into a pyramid pose, and just hold it there for a moment, just soften. All right, so hands on your waist, inhale all the way back up to seated, standing. And we're going to look for our revolved half moon pose, so a little bit more of a challenge. And if you're using a block, grab a hold of it with your right hand. Right hand reaches up towards the ceiling. Reaching forward, place that right hand down a foot and a half in front of your left leg. And then very carefully start to straighten the left leg and lift that right foot off the mat, hovering about hip height perhaps. Now challenge is to try to get that left shoulder higher than the right. Oh, there we go. Take your time. Maybe stretch that left hand up towards the ceiling. Good. And here we go. 1 more breath. And we'll release and soften into a forward bend. Relax your neck. Deep breaths. Soften your shoulders. Good. One more deep breath here. And the next inhale, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, hands on the mat. Step a hop back into a high push-up. Take a low push-up. Cobra, up dog. And then back into downward facing dog. Good. So take that right leg, float it up in any version of three-legged dog that you like, and step that right foot forward to come into dragon pose. The left knee comes down to rest on the mat. Roll your mat under if it's a little thin. Just give that back knee a little support that way. Okay. So come up into your dragon pose, hands on your thighs. If it's too much, keep the hands on the ground. You want a little bit more, you can reach that left hand up towards the ceiling, the right hand up as well if you need more than that. Allow the shoulders to relax. Maybe turn your chin up towards the ceiling. Good. Look for a little twist. Same as we did before. Left hand on the ground, right hand up. Or if you want a little bit more, hands into prayer position. Lean slightly forward. Bring that left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Curl the back toe under. And carefully press that back knee off of the mat. For a little bit more of a challenge. Just keep rotating the spine, keep those legs strong. Okay, let's take a couple more deep breaths here at least. And we'll carefully unwind the spine, lower the back knee down, hands down to the ground. Take a counter stretch by straightening the front leg and shifting your weight back. Half split. Long spine and full. Okay, let's walk the hands back forward. Make your way back to downward facing dog here. A little bit of staying in down dog while flow is fine. And it's a left leg that reaches up for a three-legged dog. Carefully step the left foot forward to come into a runner's lunge. Move into dragon pose by lowering the right knee down onto the mat. Point the toe. Stay here with hands on the ground. Place your hands on your thighs. Or lift that right hand up, or both hands up towards the ceiling. Dragon pose. Relax the shoulders. Lift the chin up a little bit. One more deep breath. Okay, so we can take that twist, right hand on the ground, and stretch that left hand up towards the ceiling, just as we did before. Or if you want a little bit more, bring your hands into prayer position. Take your right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Stay right here, or curl the back toe under and carefully lift that back knee off the mat. You're just gonna stay here and smile. Okay, let's hold it one more breath. Starting to get a little shaky. And let's carefully unwind, carefully lower the back knee down onto the mat. Take it back into downward facing dog. Just a little bit of movement, pedaling out the feet. Vinyasa if you like. Good. And a little bit of movement once back and down dog. It should feel really nice. Good. And let's lower the knees down onto the mat. Swing your feet over to the right so that the knees are over to the left side. And then we can try to open the legs up a little wider. I'm just doing this facing you so that you can see what's happening. So do your best to open the legs up a little wider, and then we're going to turn away from the feet so that we come into wheel of life. A few things can happen here. You can place your right hand on your left thigh and continue to rotate the chest away from the feet, or you might be able to come down quite a bit, back forearm on the ground, and rotate your chest down towards the ground that way. One more thing to do, you can take your top hand, your right hand, and reach it towards the top, away from the feet, away from your knees. So it's a little bit of a hip flexor stretch into the abdominal muscles, the right side of the body. Keep breathing. One more deep inhale. And let's carefully unwind all of that. All right. Unwind the spine. Make your way back to the front. Take some windshield wipers, letting the knees gently drop side to side. And then swing your feet over to the left side of the mat, knees to the right, and you can let those knees open up a little bit more if you like. And turning away from the feet. Again, you can just take a gentle twist, or if you want a little bit more, you can rotate your chest down towards the ground. Back forearm can come down onto the ground, and just hold it here. Focus on your breath. You want a little bit more, take your left hand, reach it away from your feet. Open up. And we'll carefully unwind the spine and come all the way back up to seated. The windshield wipers might feel really good. And before we move into our Savasana today, let's take a seated twist. Take your legs straight out in front of you. Gather your right knee in towards the chest and place that foot to the outside of the left thigh. Option to tuck that bottom knee in, bottom foot in, so that you bend your left knee as well. And we're rotating towards the right side, so you can take your left elbow and opposite elbow and wrap it around that right knee. And send your gaze over the right shoulder. You want a little bit more? Bring that left elbow to the outside of that right knee instead. And here we go. Keep breathing. One more deep breath. And very carefully unwind your way back to the front, all the way over to the other side for a quick bow. And then let's come back up and switch sides. And so you've got this time the left foot in and to the outside of the right thigh. Option to tuck that right foot in, and we're rotating towards the left side. So you can take your left hand and place it behind you just for a little support. And either wrap your right arm around that left knee or bring that elbow to the outside for a deeper twist. Try to keep that spine tall. Keep connected to your breath. In through the nose, out through the nose. And carefully unwind back to the front, all the way over to the other side, just for a bow. And back to the center. Unwind the legs, some windshield wipers. I'm moving onto my back now to come into Savasana. And please feel free to join me, taking about 2 to 5 minutes for it. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day and namaste.